Proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament of Uganda.
Proclamation under Statutory Instrument number 28 of 2019. Proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. Whereas under Article 95(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, a session of Parliament shall be held at such place within Uganda and shall commence at such time as the Speaker may by proclamation appoint. And whereas the President of the Republic of Uganda has indicated to the Speaker his wish to address Parliament and the nation the national budget for the financial year 2019-2020 under Article 1012 of the Constitution and Rule 1014 of the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament of Uganda, cognizant of the fact that the financial year 2018-2019 will end on the 30th day of June 2019, and aware that it is expedient that the President addresses Parliament and the nation on the national budget, the financial year 2019-2020 at the Kampala Serena Conference Center. Now, therefore, in exercise of the power conferred upon the Speaker by Clause 2 of Article 95 of the Constitution, I hereby proclaim that Parliament shall sit at the Kampala Serena Conference Center on the 13th day of June 2019 at 1400 hours to receive presidential address on the budget the financial year 2019-2020, and further, in exercise of the powers conferred upon the Rules of Procedure of Parliament of Uganda, it is hereby proclaimed and declared that the said Kampala Serena Conference Center, including its forecourt, the yard, and the gardens, to be the places of Parliament for the aforementioned purpose. Given under my hand at Parliament House in Kampala, the 27th day of May 2019, Rebecca Kadaga. Your Excellency, the established that an addendum to the budget was presented in the House after the appropriation bill had been sent to the Committee on the Budget. This caused us to sit again to handle the addendum. This is very, very untidy, Your Excellency, and I hope that the Ministry of Finance will not repeat it in the coming financial year. Despite that, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has complied with the provisions of the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act, and I would request him to, on your behalf, to present to Parliament and to the nation the highlights of the approved budget for the financial year 2019-2020. Later, of course, Parliament will carry out the oversight and advise whether in this assessment the pronouncements made in the State of the Nation address are in tandem with the approved annual budget. Members and the nation anxiously wait to hear what the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development is presenting to the country on your behalf, Your Excellency. Let me invite the Minister of Finance to present the proposals.
Item 5 on the order paper, presentation of the budget speech by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda in accordance with Article 1012 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Rule 10(4)(a) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of Uganda, the Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Your Lordship, the Chief Justice, Your Lordship, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Right Honorable Deputy Prime Ministers, Honorable Ministers and Members of Parliament, members of the diplomatic corps, in accordance with the Article 155, Part 1 of the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 13, Part 13 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, I presented the budget proposals for financial year 2019-20 to Parliament on the 28th of March this year. I applaud the honourable members of Parliament for their dedication in reviewing the proposals and approval of the budget on the 24th of May 2019. My statement today, therefore, presents the economic and development context under which the financial year 2019-20 budget was prepared and highlights the priority actions that underpin the allocations that have been appropriated by Parliament. Development progress. Madam Speaker, in the financial year we are about to end, and in that statement, I reaffirmed the NRM's government's commitment to attain our cherished goal of a middle income status for the country through interventions targeted at inclusive growth and socio-economic transformation. Uganda has made substantial progress toward this goal as demonstrated by the following few examples. 1. Uganda's economy has recovered and peaked momentum, growing at over 6% per annum over the last 2 years. 2. With the progress in economic growth, average incomes of Ugandans have increased to $825 per person in financial year we are about to end, compared to $800 in the previous year, notwithstanding increase in the population size to now about 39 Ugandans. 3. The quality of Uganda's labor force has drastically improved, with the proportion of labor force with the tertiary education increasing from 7.5 in 2013 to 13.6 in 2017. In addition, the annual growth in formal employment has averaged 9.8% between 2010 and 2017, higher than the average growth of the economy during the same period. The structure of the economy has also changed. The share of industry in the economy is now 21% compared to 11.3% in 1986 when we took over Mr. President's power. Services have increased to 48.7% from 32% over the same period. In contrast, the share of agriculture has reduced from over 50% in 86 to now only 22% in this financial year that we are soon ending. 5. Export performance has been excellent, with diversification leading to non-traditional cash crops earning Uganda US $2.84 billion last financial year, compared to the traditional cash crops which earned only $0.79 billion. Thank you. 6. I'm still demonstrating where we have come from and where we're going. Trade with our East African community partners has significantly improved, generating a surplus of $557 million last year. The composition of exports has also changed positively, with exports of light manufacturing products exceeding the traditional merchandise. 7. National grid electricity connections have increased to 1.3 million customers, and the rural electrification access rate rising from 1% in 2001 to over 13% in 2019. Tukora. 8. Many new factories have been opened in the course of this financial year, with the result that the proportion of Ugandan products, let me repeat this, many new factories have been opened in the course of this closing financial year, with the result that the proportion of Ugandan products in the supermarkets has increased from 15% to 45%. Our target 2020. Madam Speaker, the few examples I have mentioned are a direct outcome of the NRM government deliberate policies over the years to promote socio-economic transformation. Development challenges, Madam Speaker, despite these positive milestones, we, however, are still faced with some major development challenges. Let me just single out 3. 1, unemployment. 2, income inequality. 3, malnutrition and unhealthy lifestyles. Let me talk about unemployment. There are now approximately 600,000 entrants into the job market every year as a result of the universalization of health and education. This has created the need for new jobs to meet this demand. Currently, 4 out of 4 Ugandan youth are out of work. Furthermore, the quality of jobs is also of concern. The 2016 labor force survey indicates that 50% of Ugandans work in the service sector, 35.6% in agriculture, and 14.4% in industry. The informality of agriculture and the service sectors implies that about 80% of our labor force is in the informal sector and therefore not optimally employed. With most Ugandans engaged in the rural economy, it is of paramount importance to increase labor productivity in agriculture and aggressively promote agro-processing, which in the end will be the basis for Uganda's industrialization and further job creation. Income inequality. Second, income inequality has widened between rural and urban areas, as wealth has not been created faster in rural communities in comparison to urban areas. And this is explained why the President is not traversing the how to create wealth. This is despite the country's progress in narrowing regional incomes inequality. For example, in northern and eastern Uganda, following government's affirmative action programs. As a consequence, rural-urban migration has increased with high urbanization rates, causing challenges of congestion, housing shortage, and population pressure on urban social services. These challenges have compromised the potential of Uganda's urban areas to serve as engines of growth and structural transformation. World Bank studies estimate traffic congestion is costing Uganda annually over $800 million US in lost national output. Malnutrition and unhealthy lifestyles. Malnutrition adversely affects the quality of life of children and mothers, despite the variety and the quantity of foods that Uganda can produce. 53% of children under 5 years are malnourished and hence anemic, and 29% of them are either stunted or wasted or both. Many women of reproductive age are also malnourished, with 32% of them being anemic. In addition, and this is for us here, inappropriate feeding, especially among the more affluent, is also a major cause of a surge in chronic non-communicable diseases, including coronary heart diseases, cancers, diabetes, high blood pressure, and obesity. Check yourself. These maladies are largely attributable to unhealthy lifestyles. Consequently, Uganda has been spending an average of $500 million on treatment of these preventable diseases. Improving the nutrition status of Ugandans accordingly requires 1, coordinated action, 2, mass sensitization education, please, our doctors in the rural areas help us. 3, lifestyle awareness. Madam Speaker, the financial 2019-20 budget, therefore, focuses on interventions aimed at increasing the wealth and improving the livelihoods of all Ugandans. The NRM government will continue to pursue a growth strategy that aims at create quality jobs and ensure that growth benefits every Ugandan. I will elaborate this strategy later in my statement. So, the theme for the financial year we are budgeting for, accordingly, remains industrialization for job creation and shared prosperity. Madam Speaker, the budget statement today will cover the following. 1. Economic performance in the financial year 18-19. 2. Economic growth strategy for financial year 2019-2020 and the medium term. 3. Financial year 2018-19 sector performance and priorities for financial year 19-20. And 4. Financing strategy for financial year 19-20. Economic performance. Global and regional economy, Madam Speaker. On the global scene, Africa's economic performance continues to recover. The East African Community region is the fastest growing economic bloc in Africa. With growth projected at 6.2% in 2019, increasing from 5.9% in 2018. This performance is mainly accounted for by the growth in the services and agricultural sectors, as well as increased consumption and investment. Rising incomes in Africa increases demand for exports within the African countries themselves. Uganda's trade with African countries is increasing and amounted to 59% of the total goods exported in year 2018. During the same year, the East African Community continued to be the largest destination for Uganda's exports. Total goods exported to the EAC amounted to 1,469 million compared to the imports of US dollars 901 million. That's registering a trade surplus of US dollars 557 billion. Our domestic economic growth. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the economy has sustained the remarkable recovery witnessed in financial year 17-18. The economy is not estimated, I will answer that question. The economy is estimated to have grown by 6.1% in this financial year we are ending. The size of the economy now is 109 trillion Uganda shillings, equivalent to 29.5 billion US dollars. The significant revival in economic growth was a consequence of increased private and public sector activities, improved weather conditions, and a relatively stable global economy. The agricultural sector maintained its recovery, sustaining a 3.8% growth rate in financial year that we are closing. Among the contributing factors, let me mention two. One, the strengthened enforcement of fishing laws and regulations, which resulted in the recovery of fish captures. 2, provision of extension services and control pests and diseases has also led a bumper harvest in crops such as maize, beans, fruits, vegetables, and seeds. But I must say that though that the growth in the agricultural sector is still suboptimal, given the natural resources that we have. So there is still Mwagachali Mabaga. During the financial 18-19, the services sector grew at 7.2%, the highest of all sectors. This good performance was largely driven by tourism and hospitality. The industrial sector grew at 5.8 this year, continuing the rebound which started in financial 16-17. Manufacturing is also beginning to pick up. It grew at 2.8% this year compared with 1.7% the previous year. This is partly because of the newly commissioned factories, which I will mention later on. Domestic prices, Madam Speaker and colleagues, domestic prices remain stable. Average inflation was 3.4%, well within the policy target of 5% per annum. This is because of increased food supplies in the markets, relatively stable exchange rate, effective coordination of monetary and fiscal policies. Stable prices, as we all know, allow investment planning, improve investment confidence, and preserve the value of money. I can tell you my personal story about inflation when you have kept money somewhere. But that will be a story of another. I will give it to you another time, in another forum. Exchange rate. The Uganda shilling has largely been stable against the major currencies. It strengthened against the US dollar by an average of 0.6% for the period between July 2018 and April 2019. The threatening of the shilling against the US dollar was the result of higher export performance, improved disbursement of external support for government programs, continued foreign direct investment inflows, and robust remittances from our Ugandans abroad. The financial sector and the private sector credit. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the financial sector has continued to strengthen. Non-performing loans reduced to 3.4% at the end of December 2018 compared to 5.6% in December 2017. I thank the borrowers. Thank you very much. As I've said before, when you borrow money, you must return it. So thank you for listening to us. Private sector credit grew by 6.1% between July and December 2018, with the trade and construction sectors receiving the largest share of credit at 20.1% and 19.8% respectively. Credit to agriculture has registered the highest growth, though it still remains low at only 12.9% of total credit extended as of December 2018. Public finance. Madam Speaker and colleagues, domestic revenue collection too has increased significantly. It is projected at 16,711.66 billion in the financial that we are ending, of which 16,101.66 billion is tax, and 530 billion is non-tax revenue. The surplus is 352.66 billion over the target of 16,359 billion. Thanks to Revenue Authority. The ratio of domestic revenue to GDP is estimated at 15.2% this financial year, compared to 14.6% achieved last year. This is an increase of 0.06 of GDP in one financial year. We are moving. NRM never stops. We move. Madam Speaker, and we shall continue to move. Government spending, excluding domestic debt refinancing this financial year, is projected to be 24 1,297.85 billion, which is equivalent to 22.1% of the GDP. Now let me turn to the economic growth strategy for the financial year that we have budgeted for. Madam Speaker, the economic growth strategy that underpins the financial year 2019-20 budget seeks to consolidate the intervention towards the attainment of a shared prosperity. Ensuring shared prosperity requires that the benefits of economic growth reach all Ugandans. Our people must be provided with opportunities to create wealth and earn higher incomes. This strategy is built on the rapid industrialization of our economy, linked to higher productivity and production in agriculture, while nurturing the potential of the key growth sectors like tourism, minerals, oil and gas. The growth of these sectors is what will provide gainful employment to the majority of our people. Entrepreneurs who have strong links with the productive households are the key to unlocking the potential of these key sectors, leading to prosperity for all of us. The economic growth strategy consists of three interlinked parts. One, expanding the industrial base of the economy. Two, exploiting natural resource endowments with environmental protection in mind. I will repeat this. Exploiting natural resource endowment with environmental protection in mind. Three, providing affordable financing for production and business. Expanding the industrial base of our economy. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the NRF government has already successfully laid the foundation for Uganda's industrialization. The key bottlenecks such as inadequate electricity and transportation infrastructure, the lack of basic education and health have to a large extent been addressed. Consequently, the manufacturing sector is now able to meet domestic demand for basic products like cement, tiles, light steel products, and consumables such as sugar and salt. There is a word we call nyoko. Nyoko. The next phase of manufacturing in Uganda will produce goods for exports and also replace many of Uganda's imported products. Nugu,
Order, please.
Uganda's industrialization process in the future has accordingly been designated based on two strategic pillars. The first strategic pillar provides the developed and service areas where industrial production for several enterprises can take place. The plan involves building planned and fully serviced industrial parks in 22 locations across the country. The second strategic pillar supports the development of product value chains, which link nucleus entrepreneurs to growers farmers. These product value chains permit marketing of agricultural products, agro-processing for value addition, as well as the efficient provision of finance and other inputs of production. It will also ensure the vast majority of Ugandans are productively engaged. We have already successfully established a few product value chains in agro-industry in citrus fruits, vegetable oil, and dairy industries. The next move is to expand product value chains to other commodities across the country. Exploiting natural resources endowment with the environmental protection in mind. Madam Speaker and my colleagues, members of Parliament and Your Excellency, sir, exploiting Uganda's natural resources endowment provides opportunity for growth and the provision of incomes and decent livelihood for the majority of our people. The three natural resource endowments Uganda has include vast arable land and freshwater resources. abundant wildlife and diverse environment, and plentiful minerals, oil, and gas deposits. Appropriately exploiting these natural endowments requires being mindful of the adverse impact of extraction, overutilization, and wasteful use of the benefits they provide. Addressing climate change aggressively is therefore key to appropriately exploiting our natural resource endowments. Now let me turn to commercialization of agriculture. Appropriate exploitation of agricultural arable and land and freshwater resources requires climate-smart commercialization of the sector. Because the majority of Ugandans are part of rural households, achieving inclusive growth requires that we use modern farming practices, advanced agricultural inputs and technology, post-harvest storage, and improve product marketing access. This will positively change the livelihoods of over 68% of our Uganda households who are currently engaged in subsistence agriculture. Commercializing agriculture has the greatest potential for increasing household productivity and incomes while addressing unemployment in the rural communities. The use of productive value chains based on national agricultural zoning strategy will also facilitate agricultural commercialization. Successful agricultural processors will be engaged to serve as nucleus linked to farmers who sell their produce to the processor. In addition, product value chains permit inputs such as extension services and finance to be delivered. This approach will lead to an increase in sustainable production at the farm household level while increasing productivity and incomes. In addition, the approach will nurture agro-based industries across the country, employing labor that will have been released from primary agriculture. Now, let's address ourselves to climate change. Madam Speaker, deforestation and the destruction of wetlands adversely impacts the welfare of our people, among many, but in the following ways. 1, water shortage, or no water at all, for domestic use and production. 2, increased temperatures and severe long droughts. 3, overflooding and increasing landslides in highlands. You know what has been happening on Mountain Elgon. 4, destructive winds due to lack of wind breaks. Reforestation and restoration of wetlands must be undertaken as a matter of urgency. And the destruction of wetlands and forest cover will be penalized through the enforcement of environmental laws and regulations. Local governments must enact and enforce ordinances on tree planting, efficient waste management, and wasteland conservation. The ban on use of harmful materials such as environmentally destructive polyethylene bags, among others, will also be unequivocally enforced. I appeal to the private sector to adopt climate-smart technologies in their work. Now let's turn to tourism, Madam Speaker. Uganda's natural and cultural heritage are critical to tourism. Utilizing our natural heritage endowment by realizing its tourism potential will provide Uganda significant benefits. Notwithstanding its current level of development, the tourism sector has made dramatic progress and now ranks as the highest foreign exchange earner sector in the Republic of Uganda. In 2018, foreign receipts from tourism reached $1.02 billion with with 1.6 million international tourist arrivals being recorded. Uganda is now a known international touristic destination of choice, which strongly justifies developing its tourism potential for benefits it will provide to Ugandans in particular, but to our economy as well. Sustained growth of Uganda's tourism therefore requires conservation of our natural and cultural heritage, Appropriate legislation will be enacted and vigorously enforced to preserve cultural sites and monuments and deter illicit tracking of protected wildlife and antiquities. Tourist hubs and sites will be developed for product development and the marketing of Uganda as touristic destination of choice based on religious, natural, and cultural heritage. Infrastructure including roads and airports, electricity, and hospitality facilities will be developed to enable efficient access to tourism destination and adequate hospitality. World-class skills will be built in hospitality and tourist handling, wildlife conservation, tour and travel management, food and beverages services. Now I turn to minerals, oils, and gas. Madam Speaker and colleagues, extracting minerals, oil, and gas will contribute to building a solid source base for this economy, while providing jobs to many more Ugandans. The priority minerals to be exploited include iron ore, limestone, phosphates, oil and gas, dimension stones, gold, and rare earth metals. The key strategic actions required to commercialize this sector include minimizing speculation and holding of mineral licenses, enforcement of mining regulations, the airborne geophysical mapping of Karamoja, the provision of key roads and energy infrastructure. Madam Speaker, in order to avoid wasting and leakage of the benefits from minerals, oil, and gas resources, the proceeds of extraction will be invested for both the current and the future generations. In this regard, a Petroleum Revenue Investment Authority Committee has been appointed to guide this process in line within the clear and transparent policy. Uganda has also recently joined the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative to publicly account for all proceeds of minerals, oil, and the gas sectors. Now, affordable financing for the private sector. Madam Speaker, access to affordable finance is an important catalyst for the growth of viable private sector enterprises. Affordable long-term finance from development financing, pensions, and capital market sources facilitate private sector investment. Commercial banking rates remain high. This calls for government intervention. In this regard, the Uganda Development Bank will be further capitalized. I have allocated 303.5 billion in the next financial year for this purpose. Although I wanted more. In addition, to support private companies raise the equity capital, the Capital Market Authority will establish a center to facilitate access to long-term domestic...
Order members. Listen to the Minister of Finance, please.
Thank you for protecting me, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Please.
Let's listen to each other. In addition, to support private companies raise equity capital, the Capital Market Authority will establish a center to facilitate access to long-term domestic and foreign capital on the stock exchange. The necessary legal and regulatory framework for the operation of the private equity funds will also be designed to attract more investment into Uganda's private sector. Madam Speaker and colleagues, financial sector reforms include agency banking, bank assurance, Islamic banking, which has raised a bit of few fireworks, but we shall explain. Bank of Uganda is supposed to explain. And enhanced access to credit reference bureau services to reduce operational costs of commercial banks. The use of movable assets as collateral for loans has also been facilitated with the enactment of the Security Interest in Movable Property Act 2019. Thank you, members of Parliament, for passing that law. In addition, the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority is now fully operational. This will enhance consumer and investor confidence in the microfinance industry and money lending business. The electronic charters register will also be operationalized to ease access to credit. Furthermore, business clinics will be run by the Uganda Registration Service Bureau to enhance the registration of informal businesses. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, small and medium enterprises require affordable credit. I have provided an additional 40 billion to the Microfinance Support Center for on lending at affordable interest rates, not exceeding 20% per annum. Not much, but in our language we say katono kazira muliso. Little. Special programs to enhance access to credit for youth and women entrepreneurs will also continue to be implemented. The skills program for youth and the Uganda Women's Entrepreneurship Program have been allocated 130 billion and 32 billion respectively. Maybe let me repeat this. Special programs to enhance access to credit for youth and women entrepreneurs will also continue to be implemented. The skills program for youth and the Uganda Women's Entrepreneurship Program have been allocated 130 billion and 32 billion respectively. And there are more funds that will come soon. I hope Your Excellency, you will be able to tell this August House what we discussed and agreed in the cabinet the other day on these other special funds. Madam Speaker, to de-risk lending to agriculture, the Uganda Agriculture Insurance Scheme subsidizes agriculture insurance premiums paid by farmers. Agriculture insurance protects farmers against the key agricultural risks such as those resulting from natural disasters like droughts. This ultimately attracts affordable credit to agriculture. By March 2019, 77,000 farmers had accessed agricultural insurance across all regions of our country. Check, please. This is facts. I talk from nothing but from facts. Madam Speaker, in order to develop a sound financial sector that supports sustainable and inclusive economic growth, we recently developed a medium-term financial sector development strategy. The enablers of the growth strategy. Madam Speaker and colleagues, effective implementation of the economic growth strategy I have just talked about requires that certain preconditions are in place. These preconditions include peace and security. I repeat, peace and security. Good governance, and an efficient judicial system together with the macroeconomic stability. Additional enablers required for economic growth to include reliable, efficient, and affordable electricity supply, water, transport, and communications infrastructure, a healthy and well-educated and skilled workforce, an effective government machinery like the one of the NRM. The NRM government has since 1986 striven to provide these preconditions which have to a large extent been met. Now I turn to the financial year 2018-19 sector performance and the financial year 1920 private enterprise interventions. Madam Speaker, I now turn to the specific private intervention that will be implemented in the forthcoming year in the furtherance of economic growth strategy. while reporting respective developments that have been recorded during the financial year now ending. These interventions include: 1, enhancing key primary growth sectors; 2, increasing infrastructure access and reliability; 3, human capital development; and 4, maintaining peace and security and good governance. Enhancing key primary growth sectors. Industrialization. Madam Speaker, government has already commenced the establishment of an industrial base, as I've said before. The iron and steel industry now has 24 steel industries, and its installed capacity has doubled to 1.7 million tons per annum from 866,000 tons 5 years ago. The cement industry has expanded to 5 cement factories, more than doubling annual production to 4.343 million tons from 2 million tons 5 years ago. The price we shall talk about. Agro-processing factories have been commissioned in Teso and Ruero for citrus fruits, dairy in Ankole, vegetable oil in Kalangala, and tea in Toro and the Chigezi sub-regions. The Uganda Development Corporation, UDC, has acquired a 32% stake in the Atiaka Sugar Factory, which will serve as the nucleus facility for an outgrower scheme in Atiaka and Lamu districts. UDC has also extended 10-year equipment lease financing arrangement to tea factories in Western Uganda, namely Kigezi Highland Tea Company Limited, Kayonza Grower Tea Factory, Mabale Growers Tea Factory Limited. Madam Speaker, 1 private and 3 public industrial parks are already operational at Kapeka, Namamve, Dusira, and Weyogerere. The Kampala Namamve Industrial Business Park is 40% complete and will fully service in the medium term. The park already boasts of 33 operational factories with an estimated 15,000 jobs created. 87 factories are under construction and 120 are at pre-investment stage. During the year, the following factories were commissioned at Namamve Industrial and Business Park: Orion Transformers and Electric Limited, which manufactures electricity transformers, switch gears, and smart meters; Alphasan Company Limited, which manufactures veterinary and human medicines; and Steel Tube, which produces steel products. At the Zira Industrial and Business Park, 9 industrial plants are operational with 7,000 employees. The Weyogerere Industrial Park has 4 operational industrial plants in agro-processing and other manufacturing with 5,000 employees. At the Soroti Industrial Park, the Soroti Fruit Factory was commissioned during the year, although we still need to get raw materials. So please, people from that area, you the politicians, help us to guide our people with the type of orange, together with technical people from Ministry of Agriculture, what type of orange should be produced. In addition to the above public industrial parks, the Yonshen Industrial Park at Kapeka, where government is providing infrastructure, 5 factories out of a targeted 10 are operational now. These include Ho and Mu Food for Technology, which dries fruits for exports and which dries fruits for export. They are dying for more mangoes. They want more mangoes. Then there is the Goodwill Ceramics Company Limited, which manufactures tiles using more than 90% of the local inputs. And I'm inviting honorable members of parliament, find a time to go there and see. Seeing is believing. Those of you who have not been there, please go there and see what is happening. Then we shall talk from a position of knowledge and we can debate. Development of Mbali, Soroti, Iganga, Mbarara, and the Jinja National Parks is ongoing. Other industrial parks
will also be developed by providing basic infrastructure including roads, electricity, water, information technology, and communications infrastructure. 14 free zones to promote exports have also been licensed in Arua, Jinja, Kalungu, Mpigi, Mukono, Wakiso, Tororo, Kampala, and Buikwe. Madam Speaker, we are coming, don't worry. I told you NRM will go slowly. No, time is not going. Are you about to die? Sorry, Madam. Madam Speaker, in order to speed up industrial growth, the budget for 2019-20 will undertake the following priority actions. Fast-track feasibility studies, including engineering designs for all proposed industrial parks. 2, develop service industrial parks and workplaces. And 3, reform technical and vocational education and training to provide the skills required in the job market. And 4, establish the industrial skills production center at Kampala industrial area to provide skills development. Innovation and knowledge transfer, critical for researchers, industrialists, innovators, and youth in particular. A center will also be the center will also address technology gaps in Uganda while boosting value addition. 5, promote and expand the Uganda Industrial Research Institute, URI, Industrial and Technology Incubation Center. In addition, URI will establish regional and model value addition centers. 6, provide an additional shillings 10 billion to the Soroti Fruit Factory for working capital requirements to purchase the required raw materials. 7, supports applied research from you people telling our people down there to do the right thing. Support applied research, innovation, industrial development at the Presidential Initiative on Banana Industrial Development, PIBID, the Presidential Initiative on Science and Technology, and the Kira electric vehicle project, among others. You saw on the screen. Is it there now? There it is. We shall tell you. You don't say everything at the same time. Everything has time, don't you know that? Madam Speaker, in addition, preparatory work to establish regional science and technology parks, municipal innovation hubs, value addition technology transfer centers, material science program, and petrochemicals will be commenced. 8, reduce the minimum investment threshold that allows developers of free zones and industrial parks to be eligible for tax incentives from $100,000 to $50,000 million. Reduce the minimum investment threshold that allows operators within industrial parks to be eligible for tax incentives to US $10 million from foreigners and $1 million for local investors. Madam Speaker, I have provided $428.68 billion next in the financial year for 1, electrification of industrial parks, $147 billion. 2, the development of supportive export infrastructure in export processing zones and industrial parks, $103 billion. And 3, science, technology, and innovation, $178 billion. Madam Speaker, government's efforts to modernize and commercialize agriculture are bearing positive outcomes, as I've already said. For instance, the volumes and the value of exports of strategic